into Foxwalk Primitive. It's been a little while, but I'm back because of this guy right here. We're going to take a look at the brand new, the RBK, the Reinhardt Becker Khukri, the BK21. Stay tuned. The BK21 Reinhardt Becker Khukri is the product of a long effort. Between Ethan Becker, Hank Reinhardt, K-Bar Knives, and the Reinhardt estate, the perfect American-made Khukri is now available on the market today. The blade is 13 1/4 inches long, with an overall length of 18 3/4 inch. It's a flat grind with 20-degree bevels and a blade thickness of 0.188 or 3/16. The engravings feature the model number and, of course, 3 of the most important names in cutlery: Becker, K-Bar, and Mr. Hank Reinhardt himself. The sheath was carefully designed with both aesthetics and function in mind. It is made of polyester, has strong stitching, and rivets. The tip is protected by a plastic cup that is riveted to the sheath itself. It has one belt loop flush with the top of the sheath, and a one-button closure strap that is spine opening. The sheath is also lined with a flexible plastic that will keep the tip from catching the polyester when you sheathe and unsheath the blade. The sheath rides pretty high, with it being flush with the hilt of the blade, putting the handle kind of up into my ribcage above my oblique. If I had one thing to change or one modification to the sheath I would make, is I'd definitely put a dangler loop on it. I like how it carries. It's comfortable on my hip as I walk through the woods, but sheathing and unsheathing is a tad cumbersome. In conversations with Ethan Becker about Hank Reinhardt, I find out that Hank was a knife fighter. He knew how to design a knife or any blade with fighting in mind. The Reinhardt Becker Khukri is balanced perfectly and has flawless mechanical advantage. It has a very forward balance, which is good for a Khukri, but at the same time, the fulcrum is back at the hilt, giving extreme mechanical advantage. Watch how little my hand moves versus how much the tip moves. So as you can imagine, a flick of the wrist will go a long way. This knife would probably be a really good throwing knife. No way. Now let's get into some practical use and give these woods a little bit of caretaking. A well-placed strike and the BK21 will cleave right through. Sometimes the material will give before the knife can actually cleave through it. However, the BK21 will still get the job done. Taking small limbs off is literally effortless. I'm going to use the BK21 to prep a couple of wishbone sticks for building a primitive debris shelter. The chopping ability of this knife was a huge advantage. In a survival situation, I would not want to expend a lot of calories building a shelter, and having a tool like this making light work of the heavy work is a huge advantage. Measuring and chopping out the ribs was very quick and very easy. Again, just a huge advantage in a survival situation. As darkness approaches and cold sets in, you really want to be under a shelter holding in as much warmth as you possibly can. This knife will make that chore pretty quick and pretty easy. Obviously this shelter could use a lot more debris, but for this video, that's good enough. I'm carving out a figure 4 to test the carving capability of this knife. This knife, being the size that it is, carves like a 4-inch utility blade. The geometry here really shines through. This knife performs like having a BK4, a BK9, and a BK16 all put together in one blade. I can't say enough how much of an advantage a one-tool option is. A blade this size being able to carve with enough agility to match a 4-inch utility knife is priceless. Feather sticking with micro feathers for the bait stick was very, very easy. Again, this is just a testament to how nimble this blade is with the design that Hank had. I'm notching out a tumbler deadfall trap with a technique I picked up from Doc Canada. Doc, I gotta tell you, I think this knife beats out the BK4 in this class. I'm using beechwood for these particular traps. It's very easy to carve. And was growing aplenty in these woods. Drilling with the BK21 is superb. The tip is lined up pretty much with the center of your hand and your wrist. So just like in the fighting design, a flick of the wrist and drilling will go a very long way. Draw knifing with this blade was extremely comfortable. The width and girth made it easy to hold the blade at a good angle for making nice curls. I can see myself making some really nice primitive bows with this blade. The hewing capability is that of a hatchet. But like any kukri, if you're not hitting the sweet spot, you're going to get bad glancing. Once you hit the sweet spot every time, it hews better than any axe or hatchet ever thought about. And again, for a big knife, it feather sticks pretty well and pretty easy. Well, thank you for watching the video. As you can see, we kind of put this thing through a skills test. We did some chopping, we cut down some little poles. I did a little caretaking here in the woods and got rid of some saplings that didn't need to be, just for competition purposes, and we used those in making the shelter here. We shortened some poles, we broke some stuff. After that, we made a trap to get us some food. I made a little tumbler trap, also carved the sticks for a figure 4. I drilled a hole in a maple tree to start getting some water from, and it did a phenomenal job drilling. And after that, just a little bit of chopping and draw knifing, maybe a little hewing. All in all, I'm just going to tell you, I really love this knife. I'm a big fan of the BK4. A lot of people know that. And this knife handles a lot like the BK4, but better for the heavy duty stuff. It's got a lot more forward weight and cleaves much, much deeper when you're chopping. It is very nimble. As I've said before, it's a very nimble blade, which makes it phenomenal at fine carving work. This knife is going to become probably my go-to carry every day. I'm in the woods, of course, and use very, very, very consistently. This knife I can see really, really, really bonding with my skill set, and as much as I like a recurve blade, I can see myself using this quite a bit in the future. Don't be surprised if in skills videos you just see this guy out there and that's all we use. So thank you so much for your view. Thank you so much for hanging with me. I've had a little bit of a hard time, but should be having things up more regular nowadays. So look out for me in the future. Subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate that much. Thank you for your view. Thank you for your support. Get out, have fun in the woods, and be safe. I will see you on the next one.